Hello, welcome into a fresh week of Daily Face-Off Live, streaming live on the DFO YouTube, and as always, brought to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Tyler Remchuk and Carter Hutton with you, and Hutz, I'd ask you what you did this weekend, but I'd assume you watched the Blue Jays beat the absolute shit out of the New York Yankees.
Oh my goodness, what a rush. When Vladdy hit that homer, I was just going absolutely bonkers. And the weather's been insane here too. So it's just been just everything's coming together perfectly. And to get ahead last night was unbelievable. Winning those first two. Now you got to go to the Bronx, try to win one. This is awesome. This is a great time of year, and I'm pumped for the Jays.
Oh, playoff baseball. I was talking about this on one of my other podcasts the other day, but the jump from regular season to playoffs, that gap in entertainment is bigger in baseball than any other sport. I know getting to the first round of the NHL playoffs is always so good, but hockey's good and can be intense on the best or on the worst of days. Baseball, that jump is wild.
Yeah, well, I think just every pitch magnified too, right? In the atmosphere. And for us in Canada, the fact that we have one team and the whole country rallies around it. My little guy plays baseball, so he's in fall ball right now. And they had their wind-up game yesterday at 1 o'clock, and everybody had Jays hats on, Jays shirts. You could just feel the energy. So it was fun to do that and then head home. He had an in-the-park home run, so I was bugging him. This morning, I said, hey, who hit homers yesterday? I said, you did, and Vladdy did. He didn't really get it, but I enjoyed it.
Young Vladdy in your household. All right, let's talk a little bit of hockey. We're going to be joined by Matthew Barnaby for our big segment today. We're doing a futures bet fantasy draft. Myself, Barnes, Hutz, we're all going to pick 5 futures draft, go in a little snake draft order. So that's coming up in our big segment. But first, we want to kick off this week the way we'll kick off every week on the show by giving out our Man of the Weekend award. And Carter, I will let you go first.
Oh, this was obviously the highly anticipated debut of Gavin McKenna for me at Penn State, playing at ASU, getting his first taste of the student section at ASU. Forks up, right? That's their saying. And what do? After he nails his goal, he goes forks down to the crowd. He was playing the villain role. His 2 assists on Friday were unbelievable, high traffic area, and then he scores a huge goal. After the game, too, what I loved was him going over to the student section and whacking his stick on the glass. And I was a victim of these student sections, Ty. I played in the NCAA. I was abused by Boston University. That was my team. They hated me. I remember one time for playoffs, I skated out. My phone number was on the glass. I had 500 missed phone calls. So I can't imagine what Gavin McKenna is getting into. What's going on with him and, obviously being the biggest prospect coming in, the money he's making. So for him to perform on that big stage, it's obviously the -3 I don't like, but let's get started. 3 points in his first 2 is a great start for him.
I mean, the fork, this is just so nasty. I thought Mike Bond on Twitter, who does Mike Bardner, who does a bunch of really good social content around the NHL. He had a great tweet being like, isn't this way cooler than traveling on a bus to Wenatchee and beating a team 8-2 because you're way too good for the level? And I love the CHL, but the fact that these kind of high-end prospects like a McKenna can go to a level where, the competition's a little bit better. They're playing against older players, and the atmosphere, this is just so electric. Oh, that's sweet.
I love it. It's the timing of it too. He just lifts her up and he jams it down. And I just think the fact that the stage that he's on at ASU, there's all eyes on him, and obviously he performs, right? It's kind of come to be expected with him, right? He's worth the price of admission. And again, this is the changing of the landscape, right? It's going to change the whole definition of the CHL, the NCAA, and Gavin McKenna is the first pioneer of that.
All right, I'll go next. Instead of Man of the Weekend, I'm going Men of the Weekend, and I'll take Jean Hebert and Michael Markovic. And you might be thinking, Tyler, who are those people? Or maybe you're saying, Tyler, why are you picking 2 referees on a Monday? Those were the officials for Saturday night's Tampa Bay, Florida game, which, as you can see on your screen here, featured 322 combined penalty minutes, 18 players ejected from the game, according to the official game log, including one guy in Nico Mikkola who was ejected, didn't know he got ejected, stayed in the game, got an assist. They figured it out retroactively, had to kick him out again, go back in time and replay a couple of minutes of the game. It was the dumbest game ever. It was a preseason. We talked about how hockey can be intense on the worst of days. A preseason game with 322 penalty minutes. I've never seen anything like it.
I love it. I love when they got the interview from Bob when he's like, I think preseason should just be for playing hockey. And they showed the melee going on and he's just doing his weird leaning in the crease, just totally disconnected. But you know what got me is I get there's going to be a bit of a callback. And I don't think John Cooper's going in there telling his team like, hey, you have to go out there and fight. You have to go out and do anything. You know, they answered the bell. But for me, what got crazy was the physicality of the hits and the absolute blatant like hits from behind and trying. That's that fine line for me where you want to play hard. You want to make guys answer the bell, but you don't want to see guys get hurt or injured because, you know, you could end a career pretty quickly. But this is going to be one we're going to have to watch throughout the regular season because there's obviously no sustainability in this style of play, right? I think people talk about that all the time. Why can't playoff hockey be like regular season hockey? Well, it doesn't work that way. But I look for this matchup between Florida and Tampa Bay to be heated throughout this season, especially with Barkov out and the way it started so far in the preseason, Ty.
Their first regular season meeting is not until November 15th. So they got about 5-6 weeks to kind of everyone calm down. But I would expect that one to have some amount of spiciness to it. Just, I mean, part of me loves it as like an old school hockey thing. Part of me is like, it's pure stupidity. Next year, we're going down to 4 preseason games. Thank God. Florida and Tampa maybe just don't schedule against each other. Maybe Tampa Bay goes and plays Detroit in the preseason instead. Like, it feels a little unnecessary from both sides to be like putting your player, like you said, like guys can get hurt, putting your players at risk. Like, again, fans might love it. I think for these two teams, no more preseason games against each other.
Yeah. I think the shortening of the preseason is going to be huge. The other thing that I really love to know is that the fitness testing is gone too. That was the one that used to haunt my dreams all summer. So it's good we're getting rid of that. And then the other thing that's gone now too is the dress code, right? Which I hated. We used to do high fashion days when I played in Arizona. Ty, I'm a married with 2 kids. I don't have high fashion. So it was always more difficult for me. I liked wearing the suit. So there's going to be some changes. And I think the 4 preseason games and less of these games where we're seeing guys get hurt and injured. And, you know, when it doesn't matter, it's going to be nice to get rid of that.
You're not going to find Carter Hutton walking into the rink with a Gucci handbag or whatever, like Austin Matthews.
Oh, I know. I was clueless. I had no idea what to. Normally, I wear these Blundstone boots. They'd have mud on them because I was at the dog park with my kids and my dog. So this was an adjustment. I didn't have the Christian Dior shoes like Clayton Keller did. So, but I fit in as much as I could with my suit. At least I could look my part.
Let's keep the conversation of big money going. We got some more extension news over the weekend in the NHL. This is one that we kind of danced around a little bit with David Pagnotta during our Insider segment on Friday, but the Minnesota Wild and Philip Gustafsson agreeing to terms on a 5-year deal. It comes at an AAV of $6.8 million, and I'll do the math for you. That's $34 million total for the Wild netminder. And I'll be honest, like, I'm a little surprised at this one. For Gustafsson, you know, $34 million guaranteed. Yes, sign that deal, get your bag every day of the week. For the Wild, and I kind of, again, threw this to Pagnotta the other day, they have Jesper Wallstedt, a first-round pick, sitting as their backup goalie. Gustafsson has kind of always done, and you made this point, he flip-flops, right? Good year, bad year, good year, bad year. Signing him coming off of a good season when you kind of have the heir to the throne sitting behind him already, I was a little surprised by this, but what do you make of the Gustafsson signing?
No, again, I guess maybe just thinking of the forecasting of where the market's going. If he does have that bounce back year that everyone's kind of waiting for, that Jekyll and Hyde, where we haven't seen that consistent across the board for him. And I think maybe the worry would be the fact that he's going to be insulated this year. They are going to have a good team. They're going to defend well. They're going to give him the best chance to succeed. So locking him up, knowing he's the guy, and maybe taking some of that pressure off him in the sense of where, what are we really going to gain or lose if he has a bad or good year? He's still our guy. So I do like the signing. I agree where maybe they could have waited a little bit. If he has a slow start, you get him for less. And the thing is, Wallstedt's 22 years old. He's only played 5 games in the NHL. And last year in the American League, he didn't play very well. 27 games. He was under 900 save percentage. So he's looking to kind of make that jump. And it's going to be tricky too. I think he's going to be in a tough position where I think Wallstedt, where they view him as the success like Joel Hofer has had in St. Louis, where he's insulated through Jordan Binnington. He can kind of get spotted starts and trying to get him ready to go for the NHL. And now if he does do it, maybe you give him a bridge deal and you have both your goalies, you know, locked up maybe under almost $9 million is pretty good in nowadays dollars moving forward. So there is a little bit of risk reward in this sense, but I think Philip Gustafsson has earned this contract. He's earned that right. I just don't know if I'm with you too, Ty. I don't know if I totally agree with the timing, but that being said, if he is your guy and you want to take care of him, let's take this off the table and let him do what he does best and stop the puck.
Huts, we might be getting towards some breaking news here. So I'm just going to throw you a whole bunch of headlines that I wanted to get out of the way. Then we're going to get to what could be a very meaty nugget of information. But we had David Pagnotta on the show Friday. There are plenty of reasons why you should listen to David Pagnotta. He said the line, if the Predators throw out 2 years at $3 million, this thing gets done. And he was talking about Luke Evangelista. That deal got done, 2 years, $3 million. Pagnotta nailed it. He's also done some reporting on the possibility of Jacob Markstrom signing an extension before the start of the season in New Jersey, which would make a lot of sense for me. Markstrom been a solid fit there. They have Allen locked up, so why not give the other guy his deal as well? UFA at the end of the season, Jacob Markstrom. Another situation, Frank Saravalli threw this out. The Utah Mammoth, trying to get to the finish line with Logan Cooley, reportedly offered him a $77 million deal, 8-year contract. Cooley turned it down, thinking that if he has a big year, he could be somewhere in the $10-11 million AAV range. It takes some balls, Huts, to turn down $77 million guaranteed.
This is it. This is what we talked about. We touched on it last week. I've been saying this, shouting it from the rooftops. These kids it's a different generation of player, right? Where term is out the window, this new contracts, the GMs, the way the cap is going up, these guys want short term or they want exceed that money. So I give them credit because I was the opposite. I was thinking long term. I was just thinking top dollar as much as I could make and giving myself a seat at the table. But a lot of these guys are in a different position. But that being said, I love Logan Cooley. He's a great player. I think his upside is there and he's betting on himself and he's betting on Utah to have a good year too. It's also dependent on the situation you're in and the team you're in and where you're forecasted, to be in a situation to succeed. And for Jacob Markstrom, I think this is a good timing. After a down year, I could say in the sense of a 900 save percentage, he's played well. He's getting older. If he can get his deal, make his money now, I think they lock that up. So Dave Pagnotta, he's been pretty bang on with everything he said, and that's good to go.
Here's the big one, Huts. We're going to save the Jack Adams talk for later in the show because we need to spend a few minutes on this. Connor McDavid has signed an extension with the Edmonton Oilers. First reported by Ryan Rishaug. He said, my sense is there is a very good chance we see a McDavid extension today. Elliot Friedman, and this was 22 seconds ago, we are trending towards a Connor McDavid extension today. So it sounds like 48-ish hours away from opening day. You can see the smile on my face. I'm not good at hiding the homer thing when there's news like this. Connor McDavid looking like he's going to re-up with the Oilers before the start of the year. A bunch of insiders kind of getting it now. So we'll see what the deal ends up being. My best guess, I'll say 3 years by $15 million, but it sounds like the Oilers are going to get this done.
I love it. This is awesome. It would have been weird this continuing on. It's nice to get this out of the way. It's nice for the best player to stay on a team that has potential to win. This is exciting times, right? I think the landscape changed with the Kaprizov deal and everything that's gone on. But I just think right now with an Olympic year and he wants to stay in Edmonton. He wants to see this thing through and try to win a cup. So this is great for Edmonton and great for Canada and great for McDavid.
Yeah, and I know he kind of had he had a couple of quotes that made me raise an eyebrow throughout training camp, and one of them was like, hey, if this is going to be a distraction for guys in the room, like that's a them problem, not a me problem. But I also think like if this wouldn't have gotten done and we're dealing with it in November, December, every time he goes on the road, like what would the media scrum in Toronto look like if Connor McDavid goes to play that game there in the regular season and he's unsigned? Like pretending it's not a distraction or whatever, I just never felt like that was realistic. And the other thing too, I think Connor McDavid maybe had a point to make with the organization here, and I think this was done not in a way that he wants to leave Edmonton or that he's unhappy being an Oiler or even that he doesn't think the Oilers have an authentic chance of winning a Stanley Cup. He said multiple times he believes in the group this year, but I think this was maybe just McDavid's little warning shot to the team that like, hey, I'm signing this contract. I'm going to be back, but you won't always have me. It's kind of like making your significant other sleep on the couch for the night, right? You just kind of give them a little like, hey, you be on your best behavior here. And I think the organization knows like they have to continue to surround McDavid with the right level of talent here.
Well, that hits home because I slept in my daughter's bedroom last night. She kicked me out of my bed, but I wasn't in troubles. But I know I agree, right? He wants to know this organization is trending in the right direction. He has a chance to win a Stanley Cup. That's been his number one goal, and he's been very transparent with that his goal in Edmonton is to win, and his goal in the rest of his career now as the best player in the NHL is to win. But I always felt like this was going to get done, especially when Leon signed and they had that out of the way. It just felt like those two are connected by the hip. So maybe holding the team to the fire a little bit, trying to get them to understand that this is his priority, that they need to win, that they need to hold up their end of the bargain. He will continue to do that. And if it is a short-term deal, right, like everyone thinks, in that 3-year range, that still gives him, the power after 3 years to move out or to be where he's at. So it's obviously an exciting time. And I'm glad this got done, because I agree, it would have been a long year answering the same questions over and over again. Not like Matthews giving the Marner the 2-week notice. I don't think McDavid would have been able to do that with an expiring contract.
All right, again, no deal officially done yet, but Frank Saravalli, Ryan Rishaug, and Elliot Friedman all sending out different reports saying, to say it shortly, we're trending towards a McDavid extension at some point today in Edmonton. So no Jack Adams talk here. We'll save that for our betting segment in a little bit. For now, let's get out to our big segment of the day and welcome in Matt Barnaby. Very excited to be joined by someone who's going to be a teammate of ours this year, Matt Barnaby. Thank you very much for popping on the show today. Let me get your thoughts quickly on the McDavid news that we just passed along. Sounds like the extension's happening.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys earlier and look forward to this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. First of all, always invest in a great couch. I totally agree. We're on the couch a lot, so always invest in a great couch. I'm with you guys. I didn't see this not getting done. I'm glad it happened before we went into the regular season. You didn't need that cloud over there. I think it's a short-term deal. I think this is the last chance. This will be a 3-year deal, probably. I would agree. And if they don't get it done, that's winning a Stanley Cup in that time frame. I see him moving on and chasing a cup somewhere else. So this is great news for the Edmonton Oilers, great news for the NHL, and couldn't happen at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, again, on the eve of the season starting, the Oilers open Wednesday. A bunch of teams play tomorrow as well. So some big news today on the show. But let's get to the reason you're popping on today. We are doing our Futures Bet Fantasy Draft. We are going to pick 5 bets each. We're going to go in kind of a snake draft order. We did our randomizer before we started the show. So, Barnaby, you have the first overall pick. Then it'll go to me. And then Hutz is picking 3rd and 4th. And we'll go back the other way. But the goal here is to make 5 picks, bets you think are going to cash, bets you think can make people the most money. Barnaby, first overall pick. What do you like?
Well, I'm going to go with a goaltender right away. Hutz will be proud of that one. Vasilevsky, minus 130 to get more wins than Jake Ottinger. We know he plays a lot. He's in the net all the time. Tampa's got a good team. I think a couple teams in that conference, in that division, take a step back. So I got Vasilevsky, minus 130.
I don't mind that. I mean, it's part of its strength of division as well. Like, I mean, I think there's a chance it is close to a coin flip, but when you look at Ottinger having to go up against Colorado and Winnipeg as much as he does, I don't mind that. For my first pick, I'm gonna go to the Western Conference. I'm gonna take a team total. I think the Anaheim Ducks being at 82.5 points is criminal. They were at 80 last year. I know they're kind of that sexy, they're gonna go make the playoffs this year team. I don't know if they're playoff ready, but I think they're ready to get up to the mid to high 80s. I think Joel Quenneville will have things straightened out in that room. So I'm going to go Ducks over 82.5 for my first pick. Hutz, you got 2. What do you like?
Finally, you guys get to me here. I got to go 3rd here. A lot of pressure, but snake draft, right? So I get 2 in a row. I'm taking Ottawa Senators, Tim Stützle over 62.5 points. This is a team that generates a lot of power plays. They initiate calls. They're going to be on the power play. And I feel like the confidence he built last year with their success is going to carry over to this year. Now, to stay on that point topic, I'm going to switch over to goals. I'm going to go to my buddy who I played 4 seasons with, Tage Thompson, and I'm looking for him to go over 39.5 goals. I look at him coming off that World Championships, the confidence he built, him trying to set the example for Buffalo, what they're going to be this year, and to try to push to be on that Olympic team. I look for him to be over that this year.
The Olympic push is a very interesting one. For my second pick, I'll stay on the goal total side of things. I think Mitch Marner being in Vegas is going to turn Jack Eichel into a lot more of a shooter. I think it'll free him up to just be ripping pucks. Someone's got to be the trigger man on that power play. So I'm going to go Eichel. His line, I think, is criminally low. It's 30.5. He's got to get to 31. He only had 28 last year, but again, I think Eichel's going to be ripping pucks this year. 30.5, the over for Jack Eichel. Barnaby, you got back-to-back picks.
Yeah, in contract year as well for Eichel. He's going to be firing the puck, and that power play is going to be absolutely awesome. I'm just going to a team not to make the playoffs. Montreal, minus 115. I don't think they're a playoff team this year. I think they got a lot of fortune at the end of the year. They played very well. I think they take a step back this year. I don't see them making the playoffs. I see the Rangers getting in, maybe Detroit, but I think the Rangers are a better team. I think they make the playoffs. Montreal does not. They take that step back. Minus 115, not to make the playoffs.
All right. What's the second one? Snake draft style. You got back-to-backs.
Leon, minus 130 to score more goals than Austin Matthews. Simple.
Like it.
That's it. Hey, just banking. I mean, Matthews doesn't have. I mean, the same logic I used for Eichel, I guess, is almost your reverse logic there for fading Matthews a bit, right? Like he doesn't have his playmaker.
You look at that team; they're not as good. I mean, if you look at the odds last year, Toronto to win the Stanley Cup was plus 700. Right now, they're sitting at plus 1400. People can think that they got better. You lost a 100-point scorer. You lost a great guy in the power play, a facilitator of the puck that Matthews was often the recipient of. So I don't think he scores as much. I think he'll have a good year. I think Toronto will be fine, but they're not as good a team. And you look at Leon, all he does is score goals, and that power play is dynamic.
I'm going to be with my third pick. I'm going to be the first one here to take a bit of a longer shot. I'm taking Connor Bedard to go 80-plus points at a very nice plus 250. He only had 67 last year, but I think that sophomore slump kind of made people forget how close he was to being a point-per-game guy in his rookie season. Obviously, health is going to be a really big part of this for Bedard. He's got to play all 82 games if he's going to get to the 80-point range, but plus 250. I thought his line was low, and I don't mind chasing a little bit of juice for Connor Bedard to maybe have a little bit of a breakout season. Huts, what do you like? You got back-to-back picks for your third and fourth.
Okay, my first two are in the East. I'm going to slide over to the West to a team that has a lot of upside. I'm taking JJ Peterka, the Utah Mammoth, over 59.5 points. I think this is a kid that is up and coming. He's a great player. He's established that, and they're going to put him in a space to succeed here, and I feel like he's going to get points. He's got a lot of good players to play with there, so I look for him to hit his over this year in Utah. Now, my first long shot, this is a little bit off the board. We're going 40-1 odds here. I'm taking Linus Ullmark to win the Vezina. He's been having unbelievable season after season. I think there might be a little bit of a setback, and I think I'm taking this one because I want them to limit Hellebuck's games in Winnipeg. And to win 3 in a row, odds are against him. A bit of a long shot, but I'm taking Linus Ullmark. He's got a Vezina, and I look for him to be comfortable in his new deal here in Ottawa.
All right, there you go. Peterka, new name, or a same face in a new place, I like to call him after that trade from Buffalo to Utah. I'm up with my fourth pick, and you know what? He's the man of the hour. And again, I'm chasing a little bit of plus money juice. I think Connor McDavid's going north of 40 goals this year, and I'm getting it on Bet365 at plus 120. I remember a couple of years ago when he kind of came out and was like, yeah, I want to be a bit more of a goal scorer, and he led the league in goals and scored north of 60. When Connor wants to shoot, Connor can score. I think going north of 40 is good. I almost took 50, but I'm playing it a little bit safer here. So McDavid, 40 goals at plus 120. Your last two picks, Matthew Barnaby.
I'm going right with you with McDavid, and Stützle was already taken. That was one of my bets early on. It was going to be my third pick. McDavid plus 180 to win the Art Ross. He's the best player in the league. Comes down to him, Leon, or McKinnon. So I'm going to go with the best player in the league on a new contract. Gets off to a great start. I think he wins it. And then I'm going with the New York Rangers minus 115 to over 95.5 points. I think they make the playoffs. I think they're close to like a 98, 99 point team. They make the playoffs. They knock Montreal out, like I said.
All right. That's an interesting one, too. And I do think there'll be an interesting angle for the Jack Adams watch there. I think Mike Sullivan, he's 18-1. If the Rangers get in, we talk about narratives, like there's a path to that happening. I'll go with my last pick here. I'm going to go with a rookie. I think the best rookie in the class is Ivan Demidov. His line is 58.5. Even if the Habs don't have success, I think they'll score a lot, right? And 58.5. He should be a part of a pretty electric power play. He has KHL experience, so it's not like he's new to playing against men. I like the over 58.5 for Ivan Demidov. Huts, you got the final pick of the draft.
I'm going to sprinkle one more long shots because we're on goalie topic. Kind of counteracts your first Vasi bet, but I'm going to take Jake Ottinger most wins. I just think he has a chance to do it this year with the decor. He's going to be protected. They don't really give up a lot. So I look for that, and I look for Dallas to be a powerhouse again. So it's going to be an interesting battle with our goalie topics, but there's a lot of good bets out there today, boys.
That's interesting. And you know what? We'll bring you on maybe like 6 weeks into the season, Matt, and we'll do a little update on how all of our picks are going here. Because I do like that we got a couple that are contradictory, but good stuff, Matt. Again, this has been a crazy day, but Connor McDavid has officially announced his extension with the Edmonton Oilers as well. So we'll get back to that. Matt, you're going to be joining our team this season. Why don't you tell people what you'll be doing for us?
Yeah, I'll be a chameleon jumping on with you guys, with Jeff Merrick and the Sheet Barn Burner out in Calgary. So I'm in the midst of moving right now, so my studio will be a lot better than it is today. But look forward to it, guys. Going to be a great, great year, and obviously, hockey season's right around the corner. Can't wait.
Yeah, he's going to be a big part of the team over on the Daily Faceoff Fantasy and Betting YouTube as well. So we'll drop the link in our YouTube chat for everybody to go subscribe. Thanks for doing this, Matt.
Cheers, boys. Have a great day.
Just again to keep people updated on the news that's going down, Elliot Friedman confirmed his report. He was the first one on it. McDavid will be signing an extension with the Edmonton Oilers, and Connor McDavid himself actually just made a post. He tweeted out 4 photos of him in an Oilers jersey and said, "Our journey here continues." So, I mean, we don't know the numbers yet. We don't know the term, but Connor McDavid has re-upped with the Edmonton Oilers. Jeff Merrick is going to be live with the Sheet in about half an hour. Who knows? Maybe they'll even get things rolling a little bit early. And then I'm going to be live over on Oilers Nation this afternoon as well. So big news today in the NHL as Connor McDavid has extended with the Edmonton Oilers. Keep it locked here on Daily Faceoff for all of that info as it comes out. Huts, let's get to our hashtag Ask DFO question. We got one in, and I'm trying to see who asked it. Brian said, with McDavid re-signed, next, how do you think we'll get an Eichel extension before the start of the season?
I don't know if we see it before the season, just situation he's in and the fact that Mitch Marner and what's going on, because I don't know if that necessarily is totally going to affect him, especially McDavid taking that short-term deal. It'll be interesting to see what Eichel does with his term, right? I feel like it's a different situation where Jack's in the situation he wants to be in. He's in Vegas. He's won the cup. He's there. It's a little more loyalty, especially after everything that's gone on him, in his past in Buffalo. Obviously it was a hectic era for him, the way he left Buffalo and the hatred in that sense. So I can't see him, ruining that relationship. I know how much Jack loves Vegas and loves being there and just the way of life. So I look for him to be more about the term than necessarily McDavid is. So I definitely think it will impact it, but I just don't see Jack Eichel being under the same sort of pressure and microscope that McDavid was to get this deal done, Ty.
Let's get to our daily bets brought to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. A couple things that we really wanted to hit on. One was the President's Trophy odds. And you got me thinking when you said Ottinger most wins. I don't mind Dallas at third on this board. Again, that division is tough, and that does scare me a little bit because you got to play Colorado a few more times than everyone and all of that. But I think Dallas at plus 750 is some pretty decent value. I also am, again, I try not to be a homer, but there should be a year where the Oilers are a dominant regular season team. They always fall flat on their face right out of the gate. Edmonton's interesting, but Dallas would be my pick. Who do you like?
Yeah, obviously I do like Dallas too as well. Like the way they've played and how good they've been. I look for a lot of teams to pressure. The other team that I do like this year, I think will have a lot of energy, is going to be the Colorado Avalanche. I know it's in the similar division. I think they're going to come out. I look at Mackenzie Blackwood to take a big step forward in that starting role. And then from there, I would travel out to the East. I look for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the brand of hockey that they're playing to get the job done a little bit better with Stolars, with Woll, with that 1-2, kind of have that almost 1A. Both goalies could be your starter. And with Craig Berube just being the guy that demands you to play defense and structured hockey, I look for them to peck away, especially at a little bit of a weaker, obviously with Barkov being out for the Florida Panthers.
All right, we're not going to talk Jack Adams. We'll just save that for tomorrow's show because we're running out of time. We have more breaking news from Edmonton. Mark Spector reporting that Connor McDavid is not the only extension of the day. The Oilers have agreed to terms with Jake Wallman on a new deal as well. It's expected to be in the 6-year range. He was their big deadline ad last year, played some really important minutes and scored some important goals in the playoffs, but a 6-year deal for Jake Wallman with the Edmonton Oilers. So 2 big extensions in my neck of the woods here. It's a busy day in Edmonton.
Yeah, you're going to have a busy day ahead of you with obviously Oilers Nation, everything going on. And I could kind of hear Pat on the background. Was he crying when the McDavid extension came through? I know that's a big day for you Oilers fans. So this is great. This is good for hockey. This is good for the Oilers. This is a team we want to see there. And again, I'm not going to judge this team on their start, right? I guess with Florida and Edmonton, 2 teams that have been to the Cup final, they've been to that dance. They're going to try to peak at the right time. But this is a nice thing to get done, Ty. For me, this would have been a looming one. Imagine listening to this all year. You would have had a lot of questions about it. So now we just get to dissect it, and let's see how much money he got in that Brinks truck.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a fill it out contract for McDavid. I've said that the whole time. The Oilers hand him a blank piece of paper and say, write down the years, write down the term. We're truly good with whatever. The debate for McDavid, I think, is, if he's going to be a guy who talks about how important a winner is, does he back it up with the contract? Does Connor go to the Oilers? Again, if he said 20, they give him 20. Or does he go to them and say, you know what? Leon makes 14. I'll make 14. I like the point Barnaby made. This is probably the organization's last chance to do it with McDavid. Does Connor go, Leon's at 14, I'll be at 14 or somewhere close to it. You guys have 3 years to build the best team around me. Let's give this thing.
Always taking discounts, right? Higher end guys too. But when you're a Connor McDavid or you're Sidney Crosby, you actually make so much extra money off the rink too. Austin Matthews in Toronto in those hubs too. So sometimes I think as fans and inside these contracts, we just look at that value and that's what they make. They make so much extra money they can make up in other areas too. So Connor McDavid's not going to be hurting for cash. What he's hurting for is a Stanley Cup, and he's going to give Edmonton the best chance to do that. So I look for that number. I agree. I think maybe just a touch higher than Leon just to be like, hey, I am the guy, or to, please everything that comes with it. But this gives them a chance to win if he takes a decent number around that point.
All right, let's wrap up the show with a little bit of garbage time. I thought this was a very good tweet from Scott Powers, who covers the Chicago Blackhawks. Pretty good weekend for Blackhawks first-round picks in 2025. Remember, they had 3 of them. Anton Frundell's been great. NCAA debut for Vaclav Nestrasil as well. He looked great. And then the last one. Mason West threw for 388 yards and 4 touchdowns in a win. So if you haven't heard this story, Mason West, first rounder of the Chicago Blackhawks, basically going into his draft year, he didn't know he was this good at hockey. He went and played in the USHL. He got 9 points in 10 games when he got called up. I believe he was approached by an agency and was kind of like, oh, like, you think I'm going to get drafted? And it was like, yeah, man, you're a first-round pick. But he told the Hawks, you can draft me. I'm going back to play my last year of high school football. And he's like a legitimate, damn good quarterback as well. So this is a super unique story, Hutz. I don't think we've ever had the hybrid quarterback NHL first-round pick.
I know we see it a little more when it's like a football player in baseball. You always see them. They'll grab a guy in the late rounds, the MLB pick. But I love this, and it kind of reminds me of when I first signed my first NHL deal with the San Jose Sharks. They have a famous scout, Tim Burke. So he came to visit me. I was playing at UMass Lowell, and I had a raspberry on my leg from playing softball. And I'm sitting there in shorts, and we're talking, and he's like, what's that for? I'm like, oh, I play intramural softball with the team. And then so he got into my baseball career, and he really wanted to know that I knew how to play baseball and other sports. And it's something that I think at a younger age now, we're grassroots level, we get so specialized in what we need to do. And this is making Mason a better, hockey player, just like it is a football. So it's a great story. And it's nice that we, in a day and age where we're so competitive and specialized, that there's a kid that can still go out and do that. He must be one hell of an athlete, because to be able to do that and then step on a hockey rink and do what he does, it's pretty impressive, Ty.
That's crazy. Again, we're going long today, but Elliot Friedman has the terms on Jake Wallman. It is a 7x7 deal for the Oilers and Wallman. So they got him locked up long-term. And again, this all ties back into McDavid, but I do think this was Connor wanted to make sure that there's going to be a good group of players around him, as, the Ekholms and the Hymans and the Nugent Hopkins, like, as they kind of get towards the tail end of their careers and maybe their production drops off. I think that's why you saw them go out and aggressively get a 27-year-old Trent Frederick and lock him up. And you go and acquire Jake Wallman, who I know he's 29, but he doesn't have a lot of miles on his body. I think he's still under 300 career NHL games played. So I think pushing this young core with the Oilers was important for them to, again, show McDavid that they're trying to build a sustained winner here.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too, is having some guys that still have some good years on them too to play down the stretch. And again, Wallman, I think last year, just that experience gain, how well he played during the playoffs, is going to show this year. So it is a good setting. And again, we're going to be circling back to this team all year about, the D, how they defend. And obviously Stuart Skinner now is going to be under the spotlight. If he doesn't have a good start, is that the hot topic instantly, right? So I look for him to have a good start, out of camp, because I think just to set the tone and calm the nerves of this whole team and fan base.
All right, what will the terms be on this McDavid deal? The sheet with Jeff Merritt gets going at 11. I'm going to be going live in about an hour's time on the Oilers Nation YouTube as well. So Nation Network Daily Face-Off, we'll have you covered wall to wall on the McDavid extension today. And then tomorrow, Hutz and I are back. Jeff Merrick joins us on our Tuesday editions of the show. So that's a wrap as we kick off our week with some big news. Big thanks to Matt Barnaby for jumping on as well. Everybody in the YouTube, great stuff. We're here every weekday at noon Eastern. So that means we'll see you right back here tomorrow on Tuesday. Have a good Monday. Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.